All right. Link for the YouTube streams in the AMA archive. So let's dive in. Welcome, everybody. Another 2 weeks have flown by. Can't hear me? Let me see real quick. Okay, Oligorn, you can hear? Okay. Anyone else can confirm that they can hear me okay? Oxy? Everything seems pretty clear on my end. Okay, works now for you, Center. All right, very good. So without further ado, then let's jump in. All right, sorry about that for everyone else. So yeah, so Bitcoin is still pushing new all-time highs, which is a great news for all of crypto as the floodgates of adoption continue to open. And this will very likely eventually lead to more and more opportunities within crypto and DeFi over time. So it's always good to see. All right, so as you've noticed, we've been a little more active lately, pushing out some different updates. So we are going to talk about those a little bit. And as of right now, we have one question from the AMA questions that I will get into. Of course, please feel free to drop questions as we go through in the AMA chat or in the AMA questions on the AMA stage, and we'll get to them. So first and foremost, the USDC Star Concentrated LP on Aerodrome. So as hopefully you've all seen by now, we've launched this pretty highly anticipated USDC Star Concentrated Stable Pool on Aerodrome. And with this pool, you can provide liquidity in a dynamic range of price, which allows you to capture fees much more efficiently and also maximize returns on Star. Concentrated liquidity also allows for improved trading efficiency with reduced slippage on swaps, all different reasons why we were wanting to make this pool. Now, hopefully you saw today the APR for this concentrated LP has been upwards of around a staggering 140% APR, which if maintained at this APR and if compounded daily, amounts to over 300% APY on stablecoins. So please note that you must use the custom smallest range of liquidity in order to actually achieve this APR. It is going to be variable. It is going to change over time. So please also be aware of that. But my goodness, that yield is pretty amazing. Also, please remember that if you do decide to participate in the pool on Aerodrome, you will need to both deposit and then go and stake the LP on Aerodrome to earn the APRs. Easiest way to do that is through the Aerodrome dashboard. So if you've deposited your liquidity, you're not sure if you've actually staked it, please go to the dashboard on Aerodrome and make sure that you have staked that liquidity. If that is what you so wish to do in order to earn those that APR. Additionally, if you are a VE Aero holder, then you can participate in voting for the USDC Star CLP to earn bribes. which will subsequently boost the pool's attractiveness and also increase your returns, which will bring more incentives to everyone involved. When Dyson auto compounding for it. It's been thought about, but not necessarily in the works, mainly because achieving that range is pretty straightforward on Aerodrome itself. And there are lots of other things that we are trying to focus on in terms of getting Star incentivized and Prion V2 launched. So, with the USDC Star CLP, in conjunction with that has come the launch of the AMO, Prion's Automated Market Operations Controller. There's been a lot of discussion about this in the chats, so I do think it's worth talking about it for a little bit here in this AMA. So the AMO 4-star is a smart contract designed to automatically execute predefined monetary policies. So AMOs are actually a commonly used instrument within DeFi, and the AMO's purpose is to enhance peg stability mathematically and optimize capital efficiency while still ensuring transparency within the ecosystem. So this enhanced peg stability, hopefully we've already been able to see, and this really allows liquidity providers to be able to provide liquidity in those very narrow ranges on Aerodrome for that highly optimized yield. The AMO has been audited by PeckShield, and this audit can be found in the Prion documents if you would like to review it. So basically, the AMO operates within a closed system without negatively impacting the stability or solvency of Star. Star remains over-collateralized as all excess Star is burned, ensuring that no unbacked Star ever leaves the contained system. The solvency of the AMO can easily be visualized on the Prion dashboard and will always be approximately 100% or 1-to-1 Star to USDC. And this is because the AMO will mint Star in an isolated manner at a predefined ratio. So for example, 1-to-8. So as soon as you swap USDC 4-star, the Star exiting the LP will go to your wallet, and that Star is collateralized by the USDC you swapped in. The AMO will also mint additional Star and sequester it to the LP. When you swap Star back for USDC, all minted Star for that USDC is burned. So for example, if the AMO ever runs out of USDC, the AMO would burn all of the Star issued by the AMO, maintaining the 1-to-1 backing and 100% solvency of Star. The ratio of the AMO may vary over time depending on multiple factors, such as yield availability for liquidity providers and Aerodrome team's guidelines. But that is a general rundown of what the AMO does, how it works, and why it has been so important. And thanks to the efforts of the USDC, SAR, CLP, and AMO, Sphere has rocketed up to the top #1 TVL gainer on base in the last 7 days. And remember, what is good for any part of the ecosystem is good for the entire ecosystem and Sphere, and this is what we are seeing come forward because of that. So let me take a pause there because we have seen quite a bit of discussion about this in the chats, and I did want to give people an opportunity to drop any questions or comments on that. I know there's only a few of us here on Discord for now, but I suppose in general, if there are any questions about this from anyone listening at a later time, please feel free to drop in on the Discord and let us know your questions, either in the Prion Discord, the Sphere Discord. We'll be happy to answer them. We've been constantly trying to help people understand this and be as transparent as possible. All right. So that is the AMO. Oligorn, does APR change based on TVL? Yes. So you can think of it this way: if there are, let's imagine there's a set number of rewards that are being distributed to a pool. As you increase the amount of capital in that pool or users in that pool, that same fixed yield has to be distributed appropriately to all of those different users. So let's just take a simple example. Let's say that there's $1,000 going to one user. So all that $1,000 will go to that one user, let's say over the course of a week. But now let's say two users are now joining the pool and it's split 50-50. Yeah, so now each user is only going to get 500 of that $1,000. So the higher the TVL, the lower the APR. And similarly, the lower the TVL, the higher the APR. The APR is also going to vary depending on other factors like the price of Aero, bribes, the number of votes, all those different things are going to change the APR. So it is always going to be a variable APR. It's not going to stay the same even on a day-by-day basis. It will fluctuate, but we will certainly be enjoying the yield while we can. Right, yep. So as VE Aero holders vote on the pool, that is where that yield is being attracted from. And it's ultimately from the bribes being placed onto that pool that the VE Aero holders are interested in. So as they vote, they're getting those bribes. Yeah, another point on your question, Oligorn, is that the whole point of incentivization is calculating out, where we would like to see a specific TVL. So, obviously, if we're able to have such high APRs on stablecoins, the goal is eventually that TVL increases to the point where that APR is more, reasonable, right? Where it's more in line with what other stablecoins see. That's kind of the whole point, right? We want to draw in that TVL, and eventually that APR will drop down, and then you'll in general kind of get this ping pong effect as it gets to the point where the APR is too low, people are disinterested and leave, which raises the APR again, and people come in and then it drops down. So that's where that kind of market effect and that balance starts to come into play. How does this pool benefit Sphere and Preon? More liquidity? Yes, so in quite a number of ways. So remember, anything that's good for Preon is good for Sphere, because Preon is part of the Sphere ecosystem. Preon has VE Preon, in terms of governance and yield, that funnels down to Sphere. But more specifically for this, it does provide more incentivized liquidity for Star, and yes, people can swap for Star, but ultimately the goal is to incentivize collateralization, so that people can borrow Star to then participate in those pools. More collateral on Preon means more collateral is being routed through to Dyson for yield, and that just benefits the ecosystem as a whole. Yes, and as Team Clarador also pointed out, the Sphere Treasury or Preon Treasury, correct, is also able to participate in those rewards. And the whole point and the whole concept of yield farming for protocols is you want to be able to have profitable bribes, meaning that you can bribe for a week and the yield that you earn back is enough to make up for those bribes and then some, so that you can continue bribing profitably. And all of that can be calculated out, and there's a lot of decision making that goes into that. So as long as it is a profitable venture, it makes sense to continue recycling those bribes, earning that yield, and that's a good thing for the Treasury, for Prion, for Sphere. Good. Okay, so while you are typing Oligorn, yeah, no problem. The other point I would like to mention is the Prion Star VAMM LP on Phoenix Finance on Blast. So you may have seen this announcement as well that we've launched another new LP, this time a VAMM or volatile pool for Prion and Star on Phoenix Finance on the Blast chain. And to accommodate, we've updated the Prion bridge to allow bridging of both Star and Prion to and from Blast to give you the freedom to move your assets across chain seamlessly. And remember also that the gas token on Blast is ETH, and that all ETH held on Blast is automatically earning yield via Blast staked ETH mechanisms, which is the unique and cool part about Blast. And our goal is to add more bribes and incentives, therefore, for the Prion Star VAMM this epoch, so please keep an eye out. All right, very good. So those are the main three big changes this past week, right? The USDC Star concentrated liquidity stable pool on Aerodrome with the AMO, which is enhancing the peg stability of Star, as well as allowing liquidity providers to have very highly optimized yield. And also the Grand Star VAMM LP on Phoenix on Blast. Again, really focusing on providing incentivized yield for Star to increase and expand Star. All right. So any questions on that before I move into the one and only so far AMA question for the past 2 weeks here? I'm a little surprised, honestly. I thought that there would be quite a bit more given the recent release, but I think that kind of speaks to how active the chats have been in terms of being able to get to answer people's questions. So it's really nice to see. All right, I see Claradora typing. While you're doing that, let me get into the AMA question that came up since the past couple weeks. So from Draurical, does the team still have faith in Polygon? TVL and liquidity is still heading down on the chain. ZK release appears to have been a bust. Can you talk about the thoughts of the team in regards to the future of Sphere and Polygon? So interesting question. The Polygon team has had a similar approach as Sphere over the past couple of years, which is to set aside market fluctuations and really focus on building innovations in the DeFi space. So from a protocol standpoint, we have to think about how we're going to incentivize Star, expansion, yield, all these different things. So currently, Polygon is not offering any real attractive venues to incentivize Star liquidity, which again is the focal point of the ecosystem at this time. So we haven't been as active on Polygon, but this can always change. So for example, if good opportunities to incentivize Star liquidity on Polygon emerge, then we will be certain to explore them. And this could be from, ZK, from the ag layer, or from any new potential avenues that open up as a result of those innovations. So ultimately, it's still TBD, right? There is, still great potential in what Polygon is building. The whole concept of the ag layer is something that is needed within the DeFi space, right? Being able to essentially solve the liquidity fragmentation issue that we see across different L2s, different chains. That has huge potential. How that actually plays out in the future is, your guess is as good as mine, right? That's speculation. But like I said, as opportunities to incentivize Star emerge, be it on Polygon or otherwise, we will be certain to potentially explore them. All right, Team Claradora. These star pools could end up getting really fun once we are at the stage of the bull where everyone is taking profits. Yeah, that's a really good point. In looking further ahead into the future, right now everyone is certainly focused on Bitcoin being at an all-time high, like I mentioned at the start. So I'm guilty of it as well. As well as the upcoming, alt seasons and where this bull market will go. But it's also very, very wise, I think, to consider that longer term perspective of like, okay, eventually the Bitcoin bull run is going to dry up, the alt season is going to dry up, and we're going to hit another bear market. That's just how the market cycles. So having good, solid, stablecoin pools that earn great yield available is a real good benefit, especially if you can gain significant traction during the alt season and have those pools available. Now you have kind of staying power, you have familiarity, you have good position to then continue forward with the bear market and still be able to not only provide yield for the ecosystem, but provide yield for others through stablecoin pools where people may feel more comfortable as the bull market plays out its next cycle. I like that type of long-term thinking because it's very easy when things are getting exciting to lose sight of the fact that these things are cyclical. Oh, I wasn't aware of that. So Panda says STAR is not an e-money token like USDC or EURC in Europe, where MiCA has been implemented. So if you swap volatiles for USDC, it's a taxable event, but if you swap for STAR, it is not. So that is indeed a great tool at our disposal. I don't want to get into taxes here. It's certainly not the right platform, but I do think the tax laws around crypto and DeFi are going to change globally in the next couple of years as more and more adoption occurs. I think that's just inevitable. So who knows where things will end up with that. Okay. All right. So I've more or less covered everything I was hoping to cover, minus the check at the beginning to ensure everyone could hear me. I think this went pretty smoothly and concisely, hopefully, for people listening on YouTube later. But of course, always trying to work on being concise for everybody and respectful of everyone's time. But let me take another pause to see if anyone has any other questions here in the AMA chat. All right, does not seem like it. So I'll finish up by saying, if you do have any questions coming forward, especially as we continue moving things forward here in the ecosystem, please reach out to us on our Discords. You can drop a question in the AMA questions to have it addressed during the next AMA in 2 weeks. Oh, someone's just dropped. Okay. Opa. Wait. I haven't been active in yielding with stables. Is there going to be an option through the bear market to just lock and yield stables like Wildsphere with the lock of 4 months or so? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, Opa. Generally, active and yielding with stables. There's going to be an option through the bear market to just lock and yield stables like Wildsphere, or you mean with Wildsphere with the lock of 4 months or so? Generally, for these types of liquidity pools, there's no locking involved. Certain volatile tokens involves locks. So, for example, governance tokens, like VE Arrow, for example. If you're kind of talking about what type of yield YL will offer, depending on market conditions, that can always change. But there's nothing set in stone with respect to that. Outside of that, I'm not exactly certain what you're trying to ask on that. I'm sorry. If you could perhaps clarify. And you can always ask us again in any of the like Preon chat, Sphere chat. We'll be happy to help. Or perhaps if you want to, rephrase that question, we can always come circle back to it in the future. But hopefully I was able to address your question. Oh, I see you asking now in the AMA chat, so very good. I'm not sure if you heard my response to your question there. But while you're typing that out, I think I'll close things off for everyone else, which is to say, we are coming to the turn of the epoch, so be sure to check if you have any governance positions to utilize them so you can earn your bribe yield. If you have any YL Sphere, please check to see if you have any unlocks coming up so that you can either withdraw or relock. And yeah, we will go from there. So just gonna wait here for Opa to get back in terms of your question, and then I think we'll close off unless anyone else has any other questions here. But while we wait for that, again, just to reiterate with the ecosystem, so the goal is, again, to incentivize STAR as much as we can, because with everything that we have coming up, that is going to be the forefront of what we want available for people. It will drive more collateral into Preon, which will drive more TBL into Dyson and therefore Sphere, and that is all around a good thing for the whole ecosystem. I just want to lock and earn stables through the bear market, whether it be something like that. To lock stables. Hard to answer your question, Opa. So locking Sphere will come with its own type of returns. I guess Rux says potentially. I suppose he understands your question more than I do. I apologize. Most stable yield, like I mentioned, especially through yield farming, through dexes, does not require that you lock your tokens. So unless you have specific liquidity or specific assets that you want to continue to hold and earn stables, that's kind of the point of Preon, right? You can take assets, volatile assets, deposit it as collateral, borrow STAR, and then farm that STAR stablecoin. But again, there's no locking necessarily to that. You do have the freedom to close out that collateral at any time. So hopefully that answers your question. But with that, I will close things off. Thank you again, everyone, for being here, for asking your questions. Drop additional questions into the different chats. We'll be happy to field them as appropriate. Always remember that you matter for who you are. I'll see you next time, and have a great rest of your day. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.